Daf Kuf Yud Amud Beis, 10 lines from the top. Continue on with the sugya of zugos, of pairs. Ki also Rav Dimi Omar, when Rav Dimi came to Bovel, he said the following: Shtei beim shtei egoizim shtei kishuim bedavar acher halach l'Moshe Sinai. We know through halach l'Moshe Sinai that there is a sakana for pairs of the following things: 2 eggs, 2 nuts, 2 cucumbers, and something else, an undefined other item. This we know is a sakana. Now we don't know what the davar acher is. They are not sure what the davar acher is. Therefore, so therefore, zugais, they were guys around zugais at that time when there was a sakana. There were guys around all pairs because they didn't know what the davar acher was. So therefore, even at the time when the zugais, it was prevalent that it was harmful, it doesn't mean that it was harmful in all situations because it's really those specific items. But we don't know what the davar acher is, so therefore they were guys at that time on all zugais. Now, we learned previously that a number of 10, 8, and 6, and 4, even though it's even, they are even numbers, there's no problem with zugais. But like Rashban, we saw previously that that's only as far as mazikin goes. That's only as far as the harm caused by mazikin. But as far as kishuv of sorcery, even more, even larger items. And therefore, where it's an area where kishuv is prevalent, then it would be even a problem, even just in numbers of 4 and above. Ki ha'dahu gavra the garshal besa, like the Maisa was a certain man, he divorced his wife. And Ozla in Svilach Voy, she remarried, and she married a shop owner. So kol yom hava Ozla shalsi chamna. Every day, her first husband would go to this chanus or this tavern, and he would drink over there, and he would drink wine over there. Now his wife, his former wife, would make kishuv. She wanted to harm him, but she was not able to affect him. Because since he was very careful with himself not to have pairs, not to have zugos, the kishuv was not able to affect him. But one day he drank too much. And there he wasn't clear about the number of cups that he drank. So until 16 cups he was still clear-headed, and he was careful not to have zugos, not to end up with an even number. But after the 16th cup he was not clear-headed, and he wasn't careful with himself. And he left the store, he left the tavern with having drunk an even number. As he was leaving, he was traveling, there was a certain Arab that encountered him. He said to him, he said, a dead man is walking here. The person, this man, he was getting worried and sick, and he hugged a palm tree. The palm tree shriveled up, upakahu, and he burst. So you see that where kishuv is prevalent, then it's a problem, and it's a sakana. Even if it's more than 4, here is more than 16. It's a problem even in such a case. If there's plates of cooked dishes, loaves of bread, they're not a chashash of zugos. There's not a problem with zugos. In such a case, we don't have to be concerned. Klala de milsa, what's the general rule? Kol shegamar bidei adam, something which is finished, was completed by humans, then ein behem mishum zugos. There is not such a chashash of zugos. But gomer bidei shamayim, if it's something that's completed b'shamayim, for instance, like fruit, vegetables, these types of things, b'mile mini de mechal, if it's talking about food, then chashina, then we're concerned, then it is a chashash of zugos. We're talking here specifically about food. However, certain types of beverages, even though it is in a certain way gomer bidei adam, there is zugos, like we saw previously by wine, that there is a sakana of zugos by wine. Now, isn't this considered a gomer bidei Adam? It says, not really, not in this context, because over there, the grape is edible prior to becoming wine, and it was therefore considered gomer b'dei shamayim. Now, even though it's being processed, but it's processed from something that was already edible. What we're talking about over here is that something that is not edible prior to being cooked or being finished b'dei Adam. Therefore, we say it's considered gomer b'dei Adam, and there's no zugas. But in the case of wine, there is zugais. Chanus ein behem mishum zugais. Shop, there's no zugais by the case of a shop. So what's the situation here? If he drinks wine in two different shops, if it's not considered zugais, it's considered to be separated one from the other. It's not considered to be a pair. Just like we say by nimlach, if he drinks a second time with a second contemplation, he didn't contemplate it at the beginning, they're not considered joined together. Here also the same thing. The other pshat is that the Rashbam brings is that it's in a chanus, when it's in a chanus, meaning that it was not in a place of kviyas. It's not considered a hush of a drinking if it's in a store. So we would learn that it's in a store and it's not considered a place of chashivas. Therefore, it's not a problem of zugas. It's considered a kroy ba'alma. The case we had before, that was by the chanus, where the wife did kishuf on the man and he burst. That's because of the kishuf, because of the kishuf that the wife had. She had these extra powers of kishuf, but normally we would not say that in a chanus. So that's only where the kishuf is prevalent, but as far as the mazikin, where kishuf is not prevalent, the mazikin, there would not be a chashash. Nimlach ein ben mishum zugais. So one drinks, and he drank, and he finished off with an odd number, and then he decided afterwards that he changed his mind and he wanted another drink. So now the total is an even number, but it's not considered zugais because it's nimlach. It's considered a separate act of drinking, and it doesn't join together with the previous drinking. Ayreach ein ben mishum zugas. A guest, there's no zugas because the guest is not in control of how much he drinks. So therefore, every cup that he drinks, after the first cup, he's given one cup to drink. He's not sure if he's going to get another cup. The second cup is considered to be nimlach because it was now a new act of drinking because he wasn't sure that he was going to be offered a second cup. So therefore, every cup is considered to be independent and they don't join together, and there's no zugas. Isha ein bo mishum zugais. In a similar way, an isha, a woman, is no zugas because she's not accustomed to drinking. So every cup is considered to be also nimlach. But the isha chashuva, but she's an isha chashuva, which she does drink more calmly, and she would be anticipated that she would have another cup to drink, then it's not considered nimlach, and therefore chashinan, we'd have to be concerned for zugais. Asparagus was a drink that was made out of a mixture of cabbage and wine. It had medicinal properties, so it's therefore, since it's beneficial, it's helpful for the person, it's mitzaref l'taiva and not l'ro, and therefore it will not combine to make zugais to harm the person. Omar Ravina Mishmei de Rava, Ravina said in the name of Rava, Zugay l'chorma. If a person is not sure whether he had zugas or not, he should be machmir. Meaning, so if he had, for instance, he wasn't sure if he had 1 or 2 cups, so he drinks another cup. If he drank 2 cups, now he's drinking a third, so it's an odd number, it's not zugas. So therefore, he should be machmir. Now, even if he originally drank 1 cup, now he's going to drink another cup, it's going to be zugas. No, it won't be zugas. Why that? Because it's considered nimlach. He drank 1 cup, and now he's only drinking the other cup because he's not sure. So it's like nimlach. It's like he didn't have intention to beforehand when he drank the first cup to drink this. It's like now he changed his mind and he's drinking another cup. Well, if that's the case, why don't you say the same thing if he drank 2 cups, and if he's going to drink a third one, it's nimlach, it doesn't combine. No. Since he specifically is drinking the third cup to combine it, to join it with him in case there are zugas he wants it to combine, then it does combine. So that's one version. And some say no, that you should be don't drink another cup. Based on the principle that if you're not makbid on zugais, then they won't harm you. If you're makpid, if you show that you care about zugais, then it will harm you. So if he's uncertain, he's not sure, and if he disregards it, then it won't affect him. Therefore, he's not showing that he's not makpid. But if he davka does drink another cup, he's showing that he is makpid on it, then it's harmful. If he had 2 cups of wine and 1 cup of beer, they don't combine because the wine is more chashuv than the beer, so the beer won't combine with the wine. But but the 2 of beer, and then if he has 1 cup of wine, it will be mitzaref and it will combine. V'simonech, and the simon, how to remember it, kol hamechuber loy, whatever is attached to it, min hachomer meno talmi. If it's something which is more chomer, it's talmi. Kalmi meno tar. Min hakalmi meno tar. If it's something that's kal, then it's tar. For instance, in the case of tuma, there's a minimum size of a material or a cloth or different items that can be mekabel tuma. So if we're talking about goat's hair, something that is made out of sock, is goat's hair. So the shear is 4 tefachim by 4 tefachim mekabel tuma. Now let's say it has only 3 tefachim. It only has 3 tefachim, and the extra tefach is made up of another material. If it's made up of another material where the dinim of tumah are more chomer than the goat's hair, it will combine, and it'll combine to make the minimum shear, and it'll be tomei. So therefore, if it has a cloth, then if it's something that has a smaller size that can be mekabel tumah, like a piece of cloth, and if the piece of cloth is attached to the goat's hair, then it will make up the 4 tvachim and it'll be matama. And then it will be matama. But if it's something which the shear is kal, it needs a larger shear to be makabel tuma, like for instance, or like skin or leather, then we say that it's not makabel for the minimum shear. So therefore, in the similar case we have over here, that we say that if it is something which is more chashuv, then it will combine. But the beer is less chashuv, then it won't combine. So that's a siman to show what the combination would be. Amar Rav Nachman Amar Rav Trei Kamataka V'chada Kei Kamataka V'chadataka Mitzarf. If he has 2 cups he drank before the meal, before coming to the table, and 1 during the meal, then it says in that case it's mistarf. Then it is mistarf. They combine, and therefore it's 3, and it's not zugas. But if it's 2 prior and 1 during the meal, it's not mistarf, and it's not mistarf to it, and therefore the 2 cups that he drank during the meal would be zugas. Then it would be zugas. Now, same type of idea, that the wine that you drink during the meal, at the meal, is more choshev than the wine that you drink prior to the meal. So therefore, if he has 2 prior, 1 during, the 1 during the meal is more choshev, so it's mitzvah if it combines with the 2 that he had prior, but not in the opposite case. But maskiv halor ben sharashia ato anan al-zakunetaka kabinan. We want to be masakin to remedy the table. The skuna gavra binan. It's a question of the person. V'gavra ka mitzken v'koi. The person already has been remedied, because if he never, in any event, whether it's 2 before the meal, 1 during, or opposite, he drank 3 cups. The person drank 3 cups, so therefore he says it doesn't make a difference. However, the kuli alma treyataka v'chad labasataka lemitztarv. Even though he says that before the meal, during the meal, in any event, in mitzvah, it doesn't matter what number is before and what is during, but the kuli alma, everyone will agree that it's 2 during the meal, and when after the meal, then it's not mitzvah. Meaning, 1 cup drank before the meal, it has a connection to the meal, even though it's less choshev, but it has a connection to the meal because it's an appetizer. It stimulates the appetite for the meal, so it's connected. So therefore, he holds that in any event before the meal, during the meal is connected. But he would also agree that what comes after the meal, there's no connection to the meal, and therefore it's like nimlach, and therefore it's not mitzvah. Ki hahi ma'aseh the Rav Nachmani, like the ma'aseh of Rav Nachmani, where there was somebody that came from a shaliach, that from the monarchy came, and they had 2 cups of wine during the meal, and his face turned inside out. They therefore brought back the table and gave him a 3rd cup. So the 3rd cup to undo the kishuv, but they had to bring back the table so it should be part of the meal, because otherwise, if then it would be a 3rd cup would be after the meal. It wouldn't be masarif, and it would not be able to undo the zugas the kishuv. Amar Yomi Shmuel kol hamozog mitzaref. All drinks, beverages that are mozog, that are diluted and mixed together, then they're mitzaref with each other. They're considered to have something in common, and they're mitzaref chutz min hamayim, except that it's a mixture of water, cold water and hot water. That's not considered a mozog. It's only water with water. It's not considered a diluted beverage, and it's not mitzaref with other diluted beverages. Rav Yochanan Amar afilu mayim. He says even with water, mixed with water, can combine with other mixed beverages. Amar Rav Papa lo yamen al chamim legav kariri kri legav chamim. That's only hot water, cold water, or vice versa. Aval chamim legav chamim kri legav kariri. But if it's hot water to hot water, cold water to cold water, that's not considered to be a mozog, and therefore it does not combine with other mixed or diluted beverages.